Hello, viewer. Once again, this is Counsellors View program with depression today. We have been dealing with stress the other time, but today we want to deal with the depression. And depression is a condition that has been there, suffering so many people. And depression, the way it has been handled, we think something has been wanting. And so, depression is not a respecter of any person, neither race or even age. It affects everyone across the board. And so, we need to handle it in a very, very sensitive way. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, depression is very devastating this time round, and it has enabled as a catalyst in terms of depression. And today's discussion will be looking at it. What is this depression? What are the signs of depression? Or who are these people affected by depression? And how can we mitigate it? Because for sure, viewer, depression is a silent killer. And therefore, in our studio today, we are glad to have our guest today. And in my immediate left, we have Counsellor Riza. Say hello to the viewer.
Hello, viewer. My name is Lisa Gota. I am born again. I work for Anglican Diocese of Kirinyaga as the Mothers Union Coordinator. And I am a psychological counselor. I have a counseling office in Embu town, where we do general psychological counseling. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Welcome, Counsellor Lisa. And the other counsellor next to Lisa, we have Counsellor Dr. J.B. Mwangi. Say hi to the viewer.
Hi, viewer. I'm Reverend Dr. J.B. Mwangi, and I'm a worker in the Diocese of Kirinyaga. I have a parish, Kiamutugo. I'm also a counselor by profession, addiction counselor, with a center called Seed of Hope Counseling and Rehabilitation Center, the Fathers. And we do quite a number of counseling there, addiction, family therapy, and many others. You are most welcome.
Thank you, Counsellor JB. And my extreme left, we have Counsellor Shermith. Say hi to the viewer.
Hello, viewer. I am Shermith Jiro, and I am working in the Diocese of Kirinyaga as a social worker and as a counselor, mainly working for the children and especially as Utugi Children's Center. Thank you.
So, welcome, Counsellor Something. Thank you very much, our guest. Now, you realize that stress is the mother of depression. And before you go to depression, then you have some stress in your life. And so, because we dealt with this last time, today we want now to do with the mother of the stress. Counsellor JB, kindly when we talk of depression, what is this depression? Because people have been singing about depression, and have they realized what it is? Kindly, can you tell us what is this depression?
Thank you very much, Reverend Michael. Viewer, depression is a topic that is commonly mentioned everywhere. Even the people in the marketplaces, they talk about depression. Depression yako hapa. This is a very common language talked. But rarely people understand what depression is. Actually, depression is a disease. It's an illness that affects most of us. And actually, there is nobody who can say who is spared by depression. All of us, in one way or the other, we are depressed. And depression is a silent killer. In fact, most of the deaths that have occurred in this world, if we have to range them, about over 60%, they are out of depression. Because once you are affected by depression, which is a process again, depression is a process. Before you come to depression, there are other things that affect you. Psychologically, there is what we call neurosis, psychosis, then leads to depression. And it starts with a small stress of the day. And for sure, all of us, we have stress, day stress, because of one thing or the other. From stress, we go to neurosis. From neurosis, then we go to psychosis. From psychosis, then we lead to depression. So when people go to depression, as I talked and said that it's an illness, then that is where you start now looking for a way to run away from your depression. Because depression, what does depression do to you? When you are in depression, you are affected in very many ways. Number one, you become, very disturbed in your own self. The personality is affected. You become sleepless. You are not interested with many things. You become isolated. There are so many things that happens in oneself. Once you are attacked by depression, you lose interest of very many things. You lose interest of eating. You lose interest of games. You want to keep quiet by yourself. So once this happens, you try to look for a way out. And that is where the killing system or the killing trap is. Some people go to drinking. Because you are depressed at home, you go to look for alcohol to refresh your mind. Some people go to driving. Because you are depressed, you go to drive. And then you drive yourself to death. Sometimes you look for other things to do that are very risky whilst you are trying to fight your own depression. That is why it is a silent killer. In fact, it has caused many deaths without knowing, because sometimes you might not know whether you are depressed or not, and you try to look for where you can, help yourself, and you find yourself dying. Who are the targets of depression? The targets of depression is depression has no target of one person. It is a respecter of no age. It is a respecter of no race, as you said. It is a respecter of no dignitarians. In fact, from top people the president himself can have a depression. And the youngest person can have a depression. It doesn't know adults. It doesn't know teenagers. It is found everywhere, in all ages, across the bridge or across the board. Yeah. Actually, many people are depressed because of the daily activities, but they don't know. So when we talk about depression, we are talking about something that we are living with, and something needs to be understood very properly by many people. And I think that needs to be understood very well by the community, so that we may not talk about depression like something that is just a word, or just something passing. It is a real illness that affects a number of people. How do you come to realize whether you are depressed or not? Number one, when you start changing your mood, sometimes changing your mood is you are a very happy person, and now all of a sudden you are keeping quiet to yourself. Remember, that is one sign of depression. Then when you don't enjoy the work that you used to do, like you used to preach, you used to farm very well, and you are not enjoying it anymore, remember, those are signs of depression. When you lose sexual desires, you are not interested with sex like you are used to there before, remember, you are dealing with the depression. When you are interested, or when you start losing weight for no reasons, you are eating well, you are doing, and you are still losing weight, remember, you need to check about depression. Then there are so many things. Also, having fatigue for what you are not sure of. In the evening, you are very tired. In the evening, you feel you are out of place. Check out. So depression is a very wide, when we talk about it, and it's a very wide topic that needs actually to be even cut into pieces so that they can be explained. Like when I talk about when I talk about the roots of depression, neurosis, I need to explain what is neurosis, psychosis, leading to schizophrenia, leading to depression. There are many other areas that we cannot exhaust in this kind of a thing. Another thing is that depression of men and depression of women differs very much. Women are...
They vary from one gender to the other.
Depression varies very much with the gender. In fact, research have it, and we are told by research that women suffer depression more than men. But this is not because they are not suffering also, because men know how to hide their depression very much. They know how to hide.
I don't know whether Councillor Lisa can agree with you about...
Is that true?
About
men don't know how to express their depression, but women can talk.
You said it affects women more than men, but recent research shows men are really catching up because women lately or in history express themselves, talk about their problems, so they are almost snapping out of it, or they are getting less depressed than men. Today, men are dying left, right, committing suicide left, right, and it has been discovered, it is what JB is saying. Men do not know how to express their problems.
Absolutely. Okay.
When women are affected by depression, they are very irritated. They get irritated very fast. You know, a man can be irritated and then plan to be, because of macho man.
Women even cry.
Even you can't cry.
Women cry. Men will not cry.
Women cry. Women make a lot of noise. Women start, in fact, that irritation of women, they know how to express, and that you can now actually say that woman is.
But probably that's a stereotype. That when you say that men do not cry, that's a stereotype kind of taking things, because I personally cry, and I'm a man. But it's not that I don't shout like a woman.
But Michael, I want to tell you, being a man or not a man, what can make you cry can make a woman cry 10 times.
Okay.
I guess he's saying men don't cry as much as men.
I think that's okay. That's understandable.
I think it's the way we socialize our boys. From the smaller age, we socialize them that way. But they are not supposed to cry.
Absolutely.
So when a boy don't cry, even when he is depressed, you will not see him crying. And that is why actually the research is hiding, or rather it's not coming to reveal that men know how to deal with the depression.
Okay.
There are so many factors that contribute to depression. And when we talk about factors, there is what we call biochemistry. The chemistry of your body can actually change and then bring you depression. There are other things like genetics. When we talk about genetics, there are some people, there are families where depression is recurring every now and then. And genetically, you can inherit depression. There is also personality. And when we talk about personality, sometimes we are talking about your own personality. Some people are not able to accept themselves for what they are. And this one affects them very, very much. And in fact, they become depressed because they don't know how to fit in the world of the challenges of the world. If you are not able to fit in the challenges of the world, my brother, you are going to be depressed. And finally, I want to say also environment. Environment can depress you. When you go to an environment where you are not comfortable, where it is noisy, where it is, you are not trusting your neighbor, you can actually be depressed. There are so many areas, Michael, about depression and how we can be affected by depression.
Thank you.
And it's a thing that needs a lot of consultation because it is a silent killer. It needs a lot of consultation. And finally, in fact, like in Kenya, we have a number because Kenya, we have a lot of people who are depressed, but we are silent. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor JB. Viewer, you realize that depression is a very important subject that we need to talk about it, and we can't even exhaust. But because of misunderstanding what depression does and how it comes, people have been losing their life through this kind of depression. I believe through these highlights on depression, we will save many lives that are already on the track to go to ruin. Again, viewer, this is Counsellors View that was discussing about depression. Once again, we need to continue with it after a short break. And now this is Reverend Michael Githinji, the program host, also the vicar of Kiandangai Parish, will be here in a short while.
Ukai kuri niĩ inyuothe mũnogete nĩ gũkua mĩrigo mĩritũ na nĩ ngũmũhurũkia. Oyai icokĩ rĩakwa mwĩkie na mwĩrute na niĩ nĩ ũndũ ndĩ mũhoreri na mũhinya ngoro-inĩ na nĩ mũkuona ũhurũko. Pillar TV irakwĩra kĩbindi kĩrĩa kĩrĩ kũthomeria rũgendo ruothe rwa kiugo kĩa Ngai kuma o kĩambĩrĩria nginya kũguũrĩrio. Nyitanĩra na Joyce Mwema ũrĩa arĩkoragwo agĩkũrehera tabarĩra ya rũgendo rwa kiugo kĩa Ngai o mũthenya wa Jumatano kuma thaa 2 nginya thaa 2:30 cia hwaĩ-inĩ gũkũ gwa Pillar TV.
Welcome again in our Counsellors View program. And before we went for break, we were discussing about depression, what it is, who does it affect, and some of the signs of depression. And now we will be dealing with the rest of the signs of depression and then the mitigation part of it. Once again, this is Reverend Michael Githinji, the program host, and also the vicar of Kiandangai Parish. Welcome once again our guests in our discussion. Now, Councillor Lisa, you know where Councillor JB stopped about some signs of depression. Would you like to continue from there?
Thank you very much. Not continuing from there, but I would want to chip in to, he gave most of the signs and the definition. I'd want to add to the signs at home. The reason I would want to add is, being a counselor by profession, parents come to my office bringing their children and they say this, my child doesn't like to take shower, my child keeps sleeping all the time, my child doesn't eat, mimi hiyo tabia sijui imetoka wapi, you know? So some of the signs parents need to be worried about is like hopelessness. When your child begins to act hopeless, begins to say things like, I'm the black sheep of the family, ni mimi sijasoma sana, then they sleep a lot and they never slept before, then they don't eat regularly, they liked eating, then suddenly they're not eating, they are not keeping their hygiene. You walk into their bedroom, it is in chaos, they don't take shower, they are actually dirty. It is a sign you should watch for. Maybe JB, you agree with me on that? It is a sign you watch for as a parent. And then knowing that it is a mood disorder, when parents realize a child isn't talking as much, it should alarm them. JB said it is an illness. I don't want to say it is actually a mental disorder. A serious mental disorder that affects various people. I'd also want to bring to the attention of the viewer the issue of postpartum depression, which maybe today we can shallowly talk about, and we can talk about it later. With the women who go to get their children and come back acting weird. They don't want their children, they don't want to suckle them, they want to throw them away. that's another sign that you should be able to differentiate. Is not a bad habit, it is a kind of depression. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want to say that in my center, I've been brought very many cases about postpartum, whereby after getting a child, you get disturbed biochemistry again. You get disturbed in your body, and some hormones are low or whatever, then you get depressed. So what Lisa is saying is very correct. We have a lot of areas of depression. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, we cannot live on depression because there's still some way out. How can we help our people to come up from this depression? Now, Counsellor Selmith, now that people are depressed, and you know how dangerous it is, and we have heard it's really a psychological illness, it's a mental disorder. How do we help them? How do we mitigate it?
Thank you, Reverend Michael. It is true, depression is a mood disorder, and because it really comes from our cognition, our mind. Mostly is somebody who is depressed is somebody who is portraying something that he's blaming himself or herself. So what I can first of all say, if a person is feeling depressed, let him or her not come out and talk. Feel that if there are things that are disturbing you, because in fact you're saying that, and all of my other counselors are saying that, this comes from things that really affect you, these things that are stressful situations. So the best thing a person can do, even in these stressful situations, is to talk. Talk what is happening to yourself. Talk about how you are feeling. What are you feeling? Talk to somebody who can help you. Go, maybe even somebody can visit or see a professional counselor so that he or she can be helped to come out of what is feeling. Because all this starts with something small, something like sadness. And when sadness goes beyond a certain time, that a certain period, that is why somebody becomes depressed. You can, if you are also depressed, you can be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself and make yourself happy, because you must know that you are somebody who is worthy. Because in this depression, somebody thinks that he has become worthless and hopeless, like Councillor Risa is saying. But it is good to feel happy about who you are, what you have, and know that you are a person of worth. So accept yourself the way you are and be positive. Because most of the times, depressed people become very extremely negative about what they are going through. They become negative. They see that as if all what they try is futile. They cannot do anything for themselves. They cannot succeed in anything. So they are always blaming themselves. So it is also good to stop blaming yourself. Because the way you are a person. So take yourself the way you are and don't try to be somebody else. Be happy, and you can also start doing something or other activities that are pleasing to you. Do something that pleases you when you feel stressed. You can even listen to music. You can do what you feel is good for you, so that you can really you bring out the stressful situations. How about our children? Like Councillor Risa was saying, that they sleep, they behave in a funny way. You see, people become very much irritated when you find somebody behaving in a certain way. So what can the caretakers, the parents, or those who are close to that person do? They can help him to go and see a counselor, like Risa was saying, so that they can be helped. Because we have said, depression affects children, the old, the middle, all those people. And especially even those who are having now young families, they are also getting so much depressed. So what can they do? They can talk and bring out the issues. Something was mentioned about drugs. Drugs also affect people in depression. So what we can also strive to tell our people about, to create awareness that even drugs can bring depression because they affect the neurotransmitters in our mind. So all these things we can do together, and then we can be people who are not depressed. Every time you get stressful situations, it is good to try to talk them over and bring the issues out.
Yes.
The other thing I can say is also a person can believe is every one of us has what he believes in. We believe in God, so we can anchor ourselves in God, our faith, what we believe in. And that one will always help us in the depression. And the other thing is to have something I call PMA, positive mental attitude. Always try to be positive in everything, however stressful things are, however difficult are. Just be positive because life must continue in all the situations. In bad situations, in good situations, life must be
Exactly.
continue.
Yes. I want to add on.
Okay.
I want to tell the viewer and all the parents this. Please never underrate the counselors. Wherever you have a problem, consult with the counselor. Because sometimes you go to ask for advice from the ANICO, what is wrong with my child. The ANICO will not give you an answer.
Yeah.
In fact, there is a difference between advising and counseling. When you consult a proper trained counselor, you are going to get help in good time. Yes.
Now, you realize that somebody has lost a mother,
Yes.
and in a short while, the person stands saying, I want to die, I want to die. And he goes straight to the grave where they had buried their mother, and he plucked the clothes that pastors put on the grave and start digging the grave. How do you explain such scenario?
Michael, there is what we call post-traumatic disorder. Post-traumatic disorder, stress disorder,
Yeah.
is when you are actually getting a lot of stress
Yeah.
after your bereavement.
Yeah.
And there are times that you go to bereavement even without expressing any sadness or without caring. Only that after some time, it will affect you very seriously. And this is what we are calling post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
It will come after an event has passed and it affects one very, very negatively. You need to consult a trained counselor so that one can help you and can bring you back to your normality. Yes. Listen, am I...
That is true. If you don't deal with stress when it comes, it goes post. People say, I lost my mom, I didn't feel anything.
Yes.
Then finally, as days go by, because you must go through the normal process of grief, it becomes a stress. And when it becomes a stress, it becomes a disorder. Then the disorder becomes almost like a mental illness where you do extraordinary things. Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, I don't know whether there's anything that you want to add from the mitigation, Councillor Lisa. See on you.
I don't want to add on mitigation, Michael. I thought you left out something on the effects it has on people. Would I talk about that briefly?
Yeah, okay, it's okay.
Yes, because depression, however much we talk about its symptoms and signs, it has the various effects on various people. For example, it has effect on family, which is very important because it might be affecting a family in a way and they don't understand. For one, we have physical and mental effects. How does it affect a family per se, couple or otherwise? One, there is the relationship problem. He said people get irritable. He said people become angry and lose their mood. If a wife has depression in a family, they become moody, they become very temperamental, and there might be even a fight. Then we have sexual health problems. The men and also the women. If it is a man, they lose their libido totally, and they have problems getting erections. The many times I get depressed cases, one of the first things before they tell you anything is that, Mimi, siamshi. So they are so depressed even about that. So that's something we need to check. Then we have worsening chronic health conditions. A person who's got a chronic condition like depression, like or hypertension, when they get depression, it worsens completely. If they have places that have pain or they don't have, they get something we call psychosomatic illnesses. Then we have students, and especially in this time of COVID-19, those that are at home. Some are getting depressed without their parents knowing. Some get depressed in schools and colleges because maybe the bars are placed too high for them. I want my child to get an A. I want my child to get a first-class honors. Then they get stressed, stress sits on them, and it becomes depression. What is the result? One, they may have low self-esteem, they may have social and behavioral problems, have issues with interaction. Then the signs come in. They don't sleep, they don't eat. So poor performance comes in. Then suicidal ideations. They begin now to feel hopeless, and now they are saying, I don't see the reason to live. You know, yesterday I had a client who was suicidal. And he burnt all his clothes, and he said, I don't see why I should live anymore. Mimi hata nilianguka shule, nika-repeat. You know, it is really serious when it comes to students. Then they neglect their hygiene and care practices. You will find a child in school doesn't bathe, doesn't do anything. You need to find out. Don't just say they are delinquent. Yes. Then finally, in the work life. People get depressed in their work life, and mainly it exhibits itself in anxiety attacks, panic attacks, anxiety disorders. It is then the work, the production or the performance is very poor. So it is good to look at that so that you can ask, is it depression? Is it not depression? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lisa, for helping us to understand how it affects various groups of people and also the workplace that you have just stopped at. I don't know whether you can give us a specific statement, the JB, just a statement concerning on depression.
Well, I want to say, like I said, depression is an illness of the mind, or that can affect mood swings and many other things.
Yeah.
And I want to say here that there are many types of depressions. There is what we call major depression, persistent depression, and many other types of depression that can affect a person. So depression does not come in only one dimension.
Okay.
It can come in very different dimensions. And once you get in whatever dimension you get, you need to consult so that you can be told by the counselor or by the doctor what kind of depression you have.
Thank you very much, Councillor JB. Thank you, Councillor Lisa. Thank you, Councillor Somith. Thank you for being our guest today. We are very, very, very happy for helping us to understand what the depression is. Viewer, we have to realize that depression is an illness. There's nothing more, nothing less. It's a psychological disorder, some mood disorder. It's there, and it's with the people, and we need to handle it. Because we don't handle it, finally, it will lead us to death. Because after all, when you lose hope in life, you see that you want to just you want to do away with your life, and then go and forget these problems that are surrounding you. So again, viewer, this is Counsellors View with the program, and we are happy that you are able to be with us. And I want to tell you, it's good to understand yourself. And just the way we have been told by Somith, our counselor, that just be positive in whatever that you are going to do, so that you can embrace issues that come on your life. Once again, I'm Reverend Michael Githinji, program host, and also vicar of Kiandagai Parish. Kindly viewer, this is a group of association of Kirinyaga of counselors, and you can reach us, and we can help you in whatever issues that you have at hand. Kindly stay at home, wash your hands, put on your face mask, so that we can try to stop the spread of COVID-19. God bless you, and bye.